Hi guys, do you have your SAT test in 2 weeks, in 2 days, maybe in 24 hours? Well, this video is made specifically for you. Most people believe that in order to get a perfect score on your SAT math section, you need to be a math genius. In reality, beating the SAT simply requires you to know the hidden rules and tricks. What's even more amazing is that these tricks can be mastered within less than 24 hours if studied efficiently. In the next 15 minutes, I will take 10 random math problems from the official SAT practice test number 1, and I'm going to demonstrate how using these tricks can help you solve these problems easily while improving your SAT score by 100 to 150 points. Everybody procrastinates, it's absolutely normal. That's why we prepared a special last-minute cram course that will prepare you to ace your SAT within a super short period of time. You can access our last-minute cram course by clicking the link in the video description below. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and like our video. So let's do this. Alright, so the first problem is going to be from the practice test number 1, section 3, problem 7. So we have this weird equation, m is equal to whatever, right? It looks very complicated, and we need to find which of the following gives p in terms of m and r and n. Based on my experience of teaching SAT, specifically this test for years now, most students skip this question. Absolutely skip this question. They just do not know what to do. They don't know what to deal with this. They try to potentially expend some things, etc. What needs to be understood is that every single problem on the SAT, for the most part, could be solved within 30 to 60 seconds. Half a minute to a minute. So, by definition, you won't be able to expand this whole equation in pretty much less than 30 seconds. It's just impossible. So what you need to do is you need to follow a trick. The best trick is substitution. So try to imagine that this whole first thingy right here is equal to A. And then this whole thingy is equal to B. And I'll show you how this looks like. So M equals A over B multiplied by P. Now this looks much simpler. Now we just need to solve for P. In order to solve for P, you cross multiply, you just pretty much multiply by B over A. Both sides. B over A, B over A. So these guys get cancelled. So now you got B over A times M equals P. And then you do the substitution back. Again, on the test, you don't have to write things out. You can just like visualize that this thing is B and this thing is A times M. Right? So it's clearly visible that the answer is B. If you do this whole substitution, this question should not take you longer than 30 seconds, probably even faster, right? Again, most of my students skip this question. The reason why is they're trying to solve this as they were taught in school, but that's not what SAT is testing you. SAT is testing you for the tricks. Let me show you the next one. So here, we're going to be looking at practice test number 1, section 3, problem 8. Pretty much the next one. So if A over B is equal to 2, what is the value of 4B over A? So in school, what did the guys teach you? They teach you that you have to solve for A first, then you have to solve for B, then once you get the values for A and B, you plug them back in here in the final equation. What is the problem here? And again, most people do this. Absolute majority of people do the following. So A over B is equal to 2. You say, okay, cool. So you try to solve for A or try to solve for B. A is equal to 2B. Then you try to say, okay, B is equal to A over 2. You do all these weird manipulations of these A and B. What you fail to realize, and what most students fail to realize, is there are two unknowns, unknown A and unknown B, two variables. In order for us to find what A is equal to or B is equal to, we need to have two equations, but we're only given one equation. Two unknowns, two equations. Three unknowns, three equations. Here we're given only one equation. So therefore, it's impossible for us to solve for A over B. It's just purely impossible. And what we have to find out is the relationship of B over A. That's what we really need to find. So if we have A over B equals 2, the B over A will be what? So if A over B is equal to 2, it's the same thing as 2 over 1. So if you just flip, right, upside down both sides of that, you're gonna get B over A is equal to 1/2. Now, why do we need to know B over A? Is because we are looking for our final task is to find 4B over A. So that's just 4 times B over A, and we know that B over A is 1/2, so it's 4 times 1/2, which is just 2. Let's see. So again, most students also skip this question because they do not know how to solve for A and then to solve for B. It's just impossible, purely impossible, mathematically impossible. And they do not realize that they're not testing you in this question for A or for B. They're testing you for the ratio, right? So next trick. We're going to be looking at practice test number 1, section 3, problem 10. All right. Yet another one. So g of x is this weird quadratic equation, and a is a constant. Okay, fine. And we know that g of 4 is equal to 8. Great. Now we need to find g of negative 4. What most absolute majority of my students are doing all the time, and there's no way for me, the first time they're seeing this, if they don't know the tricks, they're going to be wasting their time, literally wasting their time. What they do is this. They say, okay, g of 4 is equal to 8. G of negative 4 is unknown. All right, great. So in this case, x is equal to 4, y is equal to 8. So let me try to solve for a. So they say, okay, so they plug in both x and y into this equation to get 8 equals a times 4 squared plus 24. And then they solve for a. Thing is this. And then once they solved for a, they get g of x is equal to, let's assume that a is equal to like whatever, 8. 8x squared plus 24, and then they plug in g of negative 4, right? So these are the steps that they take. So this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. These steps take forever to solve. And again, you need to solve the majority of these problems within 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Otherwise, you won't be able to finish the test. So you absolutely must use the trick. It's just obviously, otherwise it's just impossible. So what is the trick here? The trick here is to realize that g of 4 is equal to 8. So if g of x is equal to ax squared plus 24, and then g of 4 is equal to a times 4 squared plus 24, right, which is equal to 8. If we are to plug g of negative 4, that's what they're asking us to find here, it's going to be equal to a times negative 4 squared plus 24. Now let me change the color just so the color of the pen, so you can potentially see it a little bit more visually. So check out here. So these 24 are equivalent. Now these guys will also be equivalent. Why? Because 4 squared and negative 4 squared. 4 squared is equal to 16. And negative 4 squared is also equal to 16. So both of these are going to be equal. So therefore this whole thing is just equal to 8 as well. You don't need to solve anything. You just have to write that the answer is 8. Once you find the realization that 4 squared and negative 4 squared is the same exact number, the answer is A. So let me change the color back to the purple and proceed to the next one. Practice test number 1, section 3, problem 14. If 3x minus y is equal to 12, what is the value of this thingy? Majority of people skip this question. Majority of my students skip this question when they see it for the first time. Absolutely. And I do not judge them. But when you see a to the x and 2 to the y or something very similar, you must realize that here we are dealing with the exponents. So what I tell all my students to do is to know they know the timetables, but they do not know the exponent tables, right? So you need to know the exponent tables. How hard is that? It's not very difficult. Yet it's a huge asset. So if you know the exponent table, so you know that 2 to the first power is equal to 2, 2 to the second power is equal to 4, and 2 to the third power is equal to 8, and so on and so forth up until 2 to the 10th for the 2s. For the 3s is much smaller. You will quickly realize that this is equal to 2 to the third to the x, 2 to the y. So you just subconsciously must practice the exponent table so much that the 8 is clearly 2 to some power, and it's not that difficult. Once you see the table, you'll memorize these values. It's like really not that difficult. Once you know that this is 2 to the 3 to the x, and this is 2 to the y, you then know that this is 2 to the 3x and this is 2 to the y. You just multiply the exponents, and then this is equal to 2 to the power of 3x minus y. Very simple. 3x minus y is 12, 2 to the 12. Took me less than 30 seconds again. All I know is I know my exponent table. Now, they do not really teach you the exponent table in school, and they should. And that's the trick that is going to be part of the last minute cram course. Next, practice test number 1, section 3, problem 19. All right. This problem. In a right triangle, one angle measures x, where sine of x is 4/5. What is the cosine of 90 minus x? the majority of people start drawing the stupid triangle, the right triangle. This is x, and they start like trying to figure out, okay, if the sine of x is 405, then the opposite is 4, the hypotenuse is 5. What is the adjacent? They start looking for the adjacent. The adjacent is 3. Then cosine of 90 minus x is this angle, right? So this is 90 minus x. What is that? So takes time. Not the wrong solution. This is the high school kind of solution, but it takes longer than 30 to 60 seconds. You must know that sine of x is equal to cosine of 90 minus x. And cosine of x is equal to sine of 90 minus x. You just need to know this. It's not, the rocket science if you know those two things. So therefore the answer is just 4/5. I don't even have to solve it. This question would take me 10 seconds. Not half a minute, not a minute, 10 seconds at most, maybe 5 seconds. So again, very useful tricks. You know the tricks, you know the test. You don't have to know the entire course of calculus. You don't have to be a PhD in math. You just have to know a limited set of tricks. All right, so section 4, moving on to the section 4. Interesting part about section 4 is section 4 you can use a calculator. So again, practice test number 1, section 4, problem 14. All right. Again, the majority of my kids skip this question. So here we're dealing with this table. We know that the table has 24 data points. The reason why it's 24 data points because this is 3 and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, actually 21. So 21, sorry. So we have 21 data points in this table. And the question is asking, if you remove this 24, if you remove one of those data points, what is going to change the most? The mean, the median, or the range? Or D cannot be determined pretty much. Or, well, they will all change by the same amount. Well, cannot be determined. What I'm trying to say is that caliber of questions, that caliber of options. So the majority of kids skip this question, or what they do is they pull out the calculator and they start, like, for the mean, they start adding, all of these values and then dividing, like they do like on the calculator, 8 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus blah, 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 divide that by 21 to find the mean. For the median, they're like, okay, what is my median, right? So they're looking for, there are 21 values in here, so they look for like the one in the middle, right? And then for the range, the range in this situation is simple. It's just 24 minus 8, so it's 16. So before the change, it was 16, right? Now after the change, after they remove the 24, after the change, the range is 16 minus 8, so it's just equal to 8. So this is before change, this is after the change, right? Before and after. So the range computation is correct, 16 and 8. You actually are you are supposed to do this one. But what you're not supposed to do, you're not supposed to figure out the mean by calculating it or figure out the median by calculating it. You are supposed to do approximations. So here the range changed from 16 down to 8. So it changed by -8. That's a huge delta, right? Difference, delta. That's a huge delta. Now, when it comes down to the mean, we don't need to know what the mean is. But once we remove this value, 24, from the set, we are removing 24 from the set. There are 21 values. So roughly, the mean will be changed by about 1. So the mean will change by about -1. Right? So not even close to the change. Now, the median, just visually look at this, somewhere here. It's like roughly 12. Is it maybe it's 13, maybe it's 11. I don't care. I'm on the test. My question must be done within 30 seconds to 60 seconds. I do not care about the accuracy here. I just care about the general direction. So it's roughly 12. Even if it's 11 or 13, it's not going to change my answer much. Now, I removed one value. I'm still about 12 or so. Here I'm going to be like, say, plus or minus 1 for the median. Like, I'm not going to be more than that. I'm not going to be outside of the range. It's clearly visible that range is -8. That's the largest change that will be foreseen once the value of 24 is removed from the data set, right? Again, took me, 30 seconds just to realize this, right? I'm literally eyeballing the median. The mean, I'm just approximating 24 divided by 21. And the range, I'm computing 24 minus 8 and then 16 minus 8. Big deal, right? Again, most of my kids skip this question. You now know how to do this. Next, so again, practice test number 1, section 4, problem 18. Inequalities. Again, but the majority of these questions, we kind of selected them randomly. The majority of these questions have been skipped by the students all the time because they are very, very confusing, those questions. But, so here, this one has to do with inequality. So y is less than -x plus a. and here y is greater than x plus b. Now in the xy plane, if 0, 0 is the solution to the system of inequalities above, which of the following relationships between a and b must be true? What do you do? Some people start drawing. They literally start drawing. They're like, okay, y is equal to negative x plus a. So it's negative x plus a. So a is right here. And then negative x goes like that. And then b, like, you know, y is greater than x plus b. So like b is like here and like that. And like they actually start solving it. So the trick here is to plug it in. Plug in 0, 0. Guys, just plug it in. So you got to get 0 less than 0 plus a for the first one, right? From here. Now from the second guy, you got to get 0 is greater than 0 plus b. So 0 is less than a, and then 0 is greater than b. Now think about it. If a is greater than 0, if a is greater than 0 and b is less than 0, then a must be greater than b. Right? Like a is like, say, 1 and b is like, say, negative 2. So clearly a is greater than b. A. No need to draw, no need to solve inequalities, just plug in the point. 0, 0. Plug it in, one of the most important tricks on the essay. Like, it really, really works in most cases. Next, practice test number 1, section 4, problem 20. All right, so for this one, I'll actually pull up a calculator, and give me a second. Let me figure out how I can do this. So, boom. All right, so Alma bought a laptop computer at a store that gave 20%. That gave 20% discount of its original price. The total amount she paid to the cashier was P dollars, including an 8% sales tax on the discounted price. Which of the following represents the original price of the computer in terms of P? While students do not tend to skip this question, students tend to get this question wrong. So what is the trick? The trick is not to try to figure out the formula. That's what most people do. The trick is to plug in the value. Now, from your common sense experience, so we have P dollars, and P dollars will include the 8% sales tax. You must go to the store sometimes. You have to have a life, like buy chips or soda, whatever, right? So whenever you buy some stuff for like $1, they typically charge you $1.08. So you kind of realize this like subconsciously. So select a proper P from the very beginning. So select P, which is the final price that you paid, as $108, right? Just select that number. Let's assume P is 108. Okay. So before the sales tax, therefore, before tax, the price was just $100. Now, that was $100 was after the 20% discount. So $100 is 80%. So what is 100%? So if this is x, right? So you just do ratios. 100 over x is equal to 80 over 100, right? And for most people, I say use TI-89, and they question me why. And here's why: because I can do the solve function, and we have this whole separate teaching and course just on how to use TI-89, how to crash SAT with TI-89. So here, if you do this, you clearly can see that x is equal to 125. So the original price, OP, original price, $125. So the original price, $125. The final price is 108 P. Now, which of the following represents the original price, right, in terms of P? What I would do right away is just plug in the values. So I know that I'm supposed to get 125 by plugging P equals 108. And that's what I did in my calculator. So 0.88 multiplied by P, 108 for A, right? It's 95.04, doesn't work. Second, B, I do 108 divided by 0.88. Still nada. 122, now 125. C, 0.8 multiplied by 1.08 multiplied by 108, which is my P, 93. And I would not go for the D in this situation, just like select and move on to the next question. I would actually spend extra 10 seconds here. I would do 108 over 0.8 times 1.08, just to double check that it's correct. And boom, it's D. It is the right answer. This question is definitely a little bit longer. It does require you extra steps. You would not be able to do this problem in 30 seconds. Off the top of your head, you have to spend some time to actually plug stuff in, etc. But this is the best way to do this. All right, so now we're going to look at practice test number 1, section 4, problem 24. Which of the following is an equation of a circle? An xy plane with a center 0, 4 and a radius of with an endpoint of 4/3 and 5. All right, this question can be done in less than 30 seconds. You need to know the trick. Well, the trick here is knowing the equation of the circle: x minus k squared plus y, or x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, right? Whatever. And then the center is hk, and then the radius is r, right? All right. So my center here is 0, 4. 0, 4. So it has to be x minus 0 squared, which is just x squared, plus y minus 4 squared. I won't even write it out. I'm writing this for you guys. But if I'm on the test, I won't even be writing this specifically. Is equal to r squared. All right. So it's pretty much x squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to r squared. So again, I'm not going to be writing this stuff. Like, I'm writing this right now. You're like, whoa, Peter, it's taking more, a little bit more time. No, it's not taking more time because I'm just doing this in my head. So x squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to r squared. So all we do here is eliminate. So we eliminate b, we eliminate d. All right? So that's so far so good. Now, I'm not going to be trying to find my radius. Why would I find the radius by plugging the endpoint, doing the distance formula? I know it has to be r squared. C does not have the 5/3. Like 5/3 as a square, right? 5/3 is just what is the square root of 5/3? Just a weird number. So C also has to go. So it's a. Why is it a? Because 25 over 9, if it's r squared, then my r is 5/3. And that sounds correct. That sounds like the truth. So pretty much, my whole point here is to realize that I can eliminate b and d first, those two, because they just don't work as a circle equation. And then I'm using the trick of the numbers must be integers. The numbers must be like very easy because this is SAT. They're not going to be too many weird numbers. So it is a, without even solving it. Now, practice test number 1, section 4, problem 36. That's actually the last problem, the last trick. Problem with this problem with this question 36 is it's not multiple choice, so we cannot guess, right? So what absolutely everybody did. I did not have a single student who did not do it before I showed the tricks and tips to that student. So what they would do is, okay, so for what value of x, the function of h above is undefined. Undefined meaning that we have to set this to 0 and solve for x. Okay, so what most people do is they start foiling. So it's x minus 5 times x minus 5. They start expanding, and it's like x squared minus 10x plus 25. And then they add 4x minus 20 plus 4. And they do all this stuff together. They add this stuff. They get some weird stuff, weird quadratic equation. Then they start solving this equation. The best approach here is to do the substitution. X minus 5 is equal to y, or whatever. Let's call it b, right? B. So then my denominator turns into b squared plus 4b plus b. Plus 4 is equal to 0. Right? I'm setting this to 0. So I'm just doing the b plus 2. I'm doing the quick FOIL, only to realize that b is equal to negative 2. Right? B is equal to negative 2, so x minus 5 is equal to negative 2, so b is equal to 3. That's my answer. Okay? So that's the trick. So do the substitution. Thank you so much for watching. I just demonstrated how using these tricks can help you solve SAT problems easily while improving your SAT score by 100 to 150 points. Those 10 problems, you do them correctly, that's 100 to 150 points depending on where you are on the curve. Again, everybody procrastinates. It's absolutely normal. That's why we prepared a special last-minute cram course that will prepare you for your SAT test within a super short period of time. You can access our last-minute cram course by clicking the link in the video description below. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and like our video. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.